I got a one question left for Kyle. In 2007, the Chargers had explosive offense when they had the trio of LT, Antonio Gates, Phillip Rivers, and believe it or not, their number one wide receiver at that time was Eric Parker, and he had went down midway through the season with a broken right toe. So determined not to miss a beat, A.J. Smith made a trade like 8 weeks into the season by giving up a 2008 second-round pick to the Miami Dolphins for wide receiver Chris Chambers, which paid dividends for the Chargers. So, Kyle, if the Chargers are right in the thick of things in the middle of the season and sees one area where they can improve the overall team, how likely will we see a midseason trade from Joe Ortiz?
I think it's really likely. And I don't know if it's necessarily a piece that they're going to plug in to try to win this season, or if it's a piece that they see as a potential foundational guy that they can build around. I wrote about this recently on Stormcloud. Joe Ortiz, the Ravens don't typically make huge splash free agent signings, right? They did one time, they deviated. And the only time that they've signed a guy whose average per year was enough to earn the departing team a third round compensatory pick was Earl Thomas. And he was coming off of, a lot of drama. He gave the team the bird as he was, getting carted off the field the season.
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended.
Well, that was at Pete Carroll, wasn't it? They were
that was Seattle.
Yeah.
Yes. Big old finger, man.
Right. Yeah.
And that ended up being a dumpster fire. They gave him a huge contract. He ended up playing that first season, had a locker room fight with one of their defensive linemen that wasn't available for a game. I think it was week 4 against the Browns. And then in the offseason, he had that really weird altercation with his wife. Training camp came around. He fought another safety, and that was enough for them to, void his contract and kick him off the team. I think there's a chance that Ortiz learned from that incident. And the next time they signed a really big guy, it was not through free agency. They instead traded for Roquan Smith, similar to Chris Chambers, a second, but also a fifth. Yes. And they sent a veteran linebacker to the Bears to get Roquan Smith at the deadline in 2022. So if you're going to want to sign some guy that's going to be so expensive that you're going to lose a third round pick anyway, let's just say, a compensatory pick, if you have somebody that's going to go out and earn that. Why not go ahead and just part with the draft capital now and give yourself a chance to preview him? Get yourself a little sample of how he fits in your locker room. Earl Thomas came into the Ravens locker room and he never was a fit. He was always fighting. But Roquan Smith came in mid-season, showed that he could be a leader amongst those guys, and that they gelled together and they had success together. And the Baltimore Ravens were like, $100 million contract. That was a year and a half ago, and he's still the highest paid off-ball linebacker. So that's the kind of move that I would love to see Joe make. We have the cap next season to go out and get guys, but let's do it in a way that's creative. And with us having 3 compensatory picks coming in next season, we can afford to spend some of those to go bring in some guys. That gives us 10 picks to start without any trade downs. So I don't know what position it would be, guys. Pat Freiermuth, someone that's been thrown out there that I think would be really interesting if they were to say, that kind of scenario would likely be, okay, Hayden Hurst, hasn't come back from that, what sounded like a really serious concussion last year. Maybe his head's still getting rocked when he's, against contact again in a game scenario. Let's go ahead. We need another tight end. We need somebody that's going to be here for a while. Let's go get Freiermuth and, then try him out and extend him. And then we don't lose a comp pick for extending him because he's within our organization. Garrett, who's a target that you'd like to see?
Well, first off, I read that article, and so that's when we started to talk about it. I was like, I know this. I saw the article too. And I thought that was really, really cool insight, Kyle, because I was like, honestly, you're just advancing the game anyway into the current season and then rolling that into the off season, and you can, move your numbers around, and it makes a ton of sense. As you were talking about that, I was like, what position do I think? And I think maybe, God forbid, running back. But things have to happen. Maybe Gus doesn't pan out. Maybe JK goes down again. Maybe Isaiah Spiller's not all he's scrapped up to be, I think that there's a lot of running backs out there that could probably move. And as we see this running back market, even though it was kind of just, I wouldn't say reset, CMC just got CMC money. And he's still probably is underpaid for the way he plays. But I think that there's a lot of running backs that can move that are probably your high B listers that can come in and make a difference right away. And if that's the case and that happens, then we can roll into next year, sign them to a better deal, and then we just move forward.